I've got these really small little dolls which are only 4 centimeters long, and I'm going to be making a little fairy house for them, so I'm just working on some furniture. So I'm making a small little cupboard, so I'm going down on my top, I'm going down by 1.5 centimeters and just marking that there, and then I'm going down by 2, 4, and then 6, and then 8, and then by 1.5 centimeters again to 9.5, and then we're going to be going down 2 centimeters again, 11.5, and then we're going down by 1.5 centimeters again, and then by 0.5 centimeter, and then just mark the other side as well. So across I'm going by 1.5 centimeters, and then across by 3 centimeters, and then across again by 1.5 centimeters. So I've got it all marked out like that, and now on the top, depending on the thickness of your cardboard, you want to put the thickness of your cardboard extra just on the side of your 2 middle lines, like that. So that when we cut, we're cutting that small piece and that small piece out. And then we're going to score along the last 4 lines. So I'm just using the back of a pair of scissors to do that. And then just score all those lines, and now we can cut the whole piece out. I'm just using a pair of scissors to cut it out, but you can use a box cutter or a precision cutter. So I've got my little piece cut out, and now all we're going to be doing is just on those the score lines, we're just going to bend them over. So I've got the bottom all bent so that it will look like this when we collapse it all up. And now we're going to be cutting this small section out, these last 3 and a little bit. We're going to cut those out along those 2 lines. So we're just cutting out where I've marked the X's, and do the same on the other side. Before I score these 2 lines, I'm just marking in 0.5 centimeter for this one, and I'm just marking the second and third like that. And then we're going to take something that we can do a small arch or a semicircle without touching these lines. You want to leave about 1 millimeter on either side of them. And then we're going to cut these 4 little pieces that we've marked out. I'm just using a small pair of nail scissors to do that. And then just cut all 4 of them. And now we can score those lines. So going from the top, and then we can work on the inside shelves. On another piece of cardboard, I'm just marking it at 2 centimeters, and then at 4 centimeters, 6, and then 8, and I've gone in the same width, which is the 3 centimeters for the shelves. And now I'm just going to cut them at the 4 and 8 centimeter mark, and we're going to score the middle line and fold them over. I've got my little piece cut and scored, and now we're just going to squash it over, and that makes one of our shelves. The same with the other one. Sorry, the measurements for the shelves are actually 1.5 centimeters. So in total we've got 3 centimeters, and then just fold it in half. The next piece of cardboard, we're going to be cutting at 1.7 and 1.7, and just folding that one over as well, like that. The one side of my cardboard has got this glossy finish to it, so all I'm doing is I'm taking it and I'm putting it onto another piece of cardboard, and I'm just going to be tracing around just this small top section like that, so I can cut it out so that I can stick it onto the back of this, because paint doesn't go very nicely on this really glossy surface. And now we can stick the little shelves together. So I've got hot glue that I'm going to be using. And then just stick all of them together. Before I stick it all together, I'm using what they call a dotting tool, and this one is a very fine one. And all I'm doing is making wood grain patterns on it. So just a few little patterns, just so that when I paint, it's actually going to come out looking a bit like wood. And then just do the whole thing. And now for the base, I've got another piece of cardboard, and I'm measuring in by 0.5 centimeter. And then I'm going in by 2 centimeters. And then out by 0.5 centimeter again. And across we're going in by 0.5 centimeter, by 3.5 centimeters, and by 0.5 centimeter. And we're just going to draw those lines up. I've got my little piece cut out, and now we're just going to score along the inside lines. I've got all my lines scored, and now we're going to just cut to that line on both sides, those little lines there. And now we can turn it all under. So we've got the little stand for our cupboard. I've marked the center of my little piece, and I'm going to be taking my little cap once again and just making the little circle going 1 millimeter on either side of the center point, 1 millimeter in from the sides, and just putting a little circle, a half circle like that, and then cutting those out and doing it on just the 2 front sides. And now I'm just going to use hot glue and glue these little tabs on the inside so that it closes up nice and neat like that. So that my shelves have got something to rest on, I've got a small piece of cardboard which I'm going to be cutting, and I'm using 3 millimeters by 6 centimeters, and I'm going to be gluing those down onto the little strips just here and there to support the little shelves. So I've left them intact, so I've got 2 of those little strips, and I've scored it down the middle, but I'm keeping it intact so that I can glue on the back of this and then fold it over and then cut along there, because it's rather tiny to cut and glue. And now I can cut it off and do the same with the other one. I've got both my little pieces glued together, and now we can glue it onto the shelving. So I'm just putting a wee bit of hot glue on there. And now the excess I can cut off. And do the same with the next shelf. I've glued the whole back piece onto the front, and I've left double the length of what the front piece is, and I've folded it over by 3 millimeters so that I've got a little bit of a ledge like that, so when it gets stuck down it's got a nice clean little edge like that. I've got all my little pieces prepared, and now I'm just taking some black and some burnt umber, and I've mixed them together just to give me a slightly darker brown, and then I'm going to just paint them all. And then just paint all of them. So I've painted it with the dark paint, and as you can just see the little wood grains, and now I'm taking some of the just burnt umber, and I'm just putting a few pieces on and just rubbing it in like that, just to give me a bit of a contrast in colour. So a bit like that. I'm going to be using a black pen to draw some little doors and drawers onto my little cupboard. So I've got my little drawers and doors, and now I'm just taking some gold and the same little dotting tool that I used to draw all the little lines in, and I'm just putting some little door handles on. The little top piece that I folded over to give me my 5 mils, I'm cutting just that small little section out on the side there, so that when it folds over and it glues under, it lies flat against the side like that. So I'm just going to glue this wee piece down now. And now we can put it all together. The first piece we're going to be gluing down is on the line that we drew at the 2 centimeter mark from the bottom. I'm going to be gluing this little piece and then just flattening the piece like that and gluing that down. And then we can just straighten that up and then just glue all the sides. Everything's glued together now, and now we can just glue the base on. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.